Hey guys, Adam Cogswell here from the Trinity Force Network. I'm standing in front of Pylon Rogue with Dane. Dane, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about this roguelike adventure game that we got, that I've had the chance to play?
Yeah, basically it's essentially a combination of Binding of Isaac meets Diablo. It's a roguelike action RPG. We structured it in a very arcade-like manner. One and done, as they say. You get as far as you can on a single run. It's a very challenging game. The way I tell people is a bit of Gauntlet kind of old school feel to it. 4 different character classes you can play from. We specifically designed each of those characters to have their own unique abilities, so that if you beat the game, say with the sword and board guy, the money den, you could then play the ranger and have a completely different play experience. I would say probably 2 hours is a good run in terms of if you're going to go all the way to the boss. So there's a lot of playtime. I mean, you're going to have many runs before that. If you get lucky, maybe you get to the sub-boss or something like that, but it's going to be several runs before. People ask, well, how much is the gameplay time? I'd say probably 20 hours. I mean, more if you play a lot.
Sure, especially if you're playing multiple type of characters and whatnot.
It depends on how good you are. I mean, honestly, yeah.
And it is a roguelike. I was just saying to you, I like how the roguelike adventure type games they've been making a comeback within the last couple of years. We had just I had previously talked to someone about playing like a roguelike Mega Man game, and it's just like playing the type of games you're not used to, having that one and done. Now, I don't want to so much call you a child in the '90s, but you are you were built and molded by the '90s.
I wasn't exactly a child in the '90s.
Right. But I didn't want to call you that. You were definitely molded. We were talking about how you're molded by the video games of the '90s.
Yeah, well,
right?
A little bit of background again is I worked at Nintendo back in its heyday when Nintendo was absolutely king. So that was back in the NES days. They launched the SNES, the Super Nintendo, and the Game Boy when I was there. So that was late '80s to almost to the mid '90s is when I was there, and I love it. I mean, it's nostalgia for me. I love video games. I love the creative process, but there definitely is something different to the games back then. I know you and I were talking earlier. I have a son who's 15, and I got a Nintendo Classic, and he was like mad that the games were so hard. I mean, he was trying to say that they were no good, and I said, dude, these are some of the best rated games ever. And then finally so now he's been playing it a lot, but total different appreciation for how difficult, and there are hard games out there, the Dark Souls type of games and things like that, but I mean,
but nothing as hard as like Ninja Gaiden or a Battletoads.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and and if you can get a hold of that classic, the Nintendo Classic Mini, it's pretty awesome. It really takes you down memory lane. I could see where people who don't have that much appreciation would think like, oh, these are just old school nostalgia games. But people who have that background a little bit, really, it's awesome. And I can't say that we did Pylon Rogue after that. It's just, I think that's part of my upbringing in games, I guess. And so the challenge was very important. I'm a fan of Binding of Isaac. I'm a fan of the Diablo Torchlight sort of action RPGs. So I think the combination, and it's really getting a good, at the show here, a really good reception when you say, hey, it's a little bit of Binding of Isaac meets Diablo, and they're like, whoa, that sounds amazingly cool. Because like you said, the roguelikes are they're kind of, I don't know if coming back is it, but they are
gaining popularity now, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about Pylon Rogue and the specific gameplay of it. We had from what I saw, you go into a room, you clear all of the enemies, you get a treasure chest. Let's talk about like what your goal is. You said that you're picking up items, and let's kind of go over how you're playing the game.
So basically, there are bosses, and there is an end to a given run. So we have a jungle continent and we have a desert continent. Each one of those have sub-bosses and bosses. You're basically trying to clear your way through that as you go. It is a room-based game, so when you start a new run, you're on a procedurally generated map. That map has 4 nodes that are randomly throughout there. Those nodes are areas or sub-areas that you go into. You go into those areas, then you have a series of rooms, anywhere from 4 rooms all the way up to 10 rooms. You have to clear all of those rooms before you can leave that area. Now, you can leave an area early if you pop the exit. The exit randomly locates, or it shows up after you've cleared a room. You can take that exit, but if you don't take that exit and you finish all the rooms in that area, you guaranteed get an epic loot drop. And the only way that you're really going to have a good long run is to get that epic loot drop. So and then when you go into the rooms, it's basically wave-based enemies. You're going to be presented with anywhere from 1 to 4 waves of enemies of varying difficulty levels, and as that difficulty ramps up, the further you get into the game, it's going to be pretty hard. You need to get those epic loot drops, and you need to get some good RNG in your favor to get a good solid run, because there's just so much chaos that's going to be happening. It's a little bit of a bullet storm, kind of game a little bit.
So with those loot drops that you pick up, do those persist from game to game, or is it that one playthrough until you die and then you have to start all over again and hope your RNG is in your favor?
Yeah, sort of like that. I mean, there is a persistency element to the game, but it's mainly unlocking the potential for you to get better drops. So if you start the game, say a third or so of the items are available for you to get, as you progress, some of them easy, some of them hard, as you progress, you're unlocking more items that can potentially drop. Once you've been playing a lot, you have a lot of items in your palette of items or your inventory potential that are dropping, and some of them you have to unlock through not terribly difficult tasks, but you have to unlock in order for you to really have a chance. The Cat's Eye Necklace is one of the ones I was mentioning to you earlier. The game notoriously doesn't have any continues, but if you can get a rare drop of the Cat's Eye Necklace, you get a free resurrection, more or less, which basically gives you 2 runs in 1 run. And then there's some other little secrets in there we put in there, for people to play.
Very cool. Now, one of my last questions before we get into release date and price point of the game would be, what type of gamer, besides maybe the nostalgic gamer, do you have in mind? Are we looking at speedrunners? Are we looking at people that want to sit down on the couch and play? Like, is there a specific type of gamer in mind when you try to build Pylon Rogue?
It's not specifically. It is probably one of those speedrunner kind of things. We are going to be adding some additional game modes in there, where there is an actual timer on there. We're toying with some ideas with how to get some social interaction. Again, we're not really announcing anything or doing anything with that. The game is a single-player experience. A lot of people ask, well, is it multiplayer? Currently, right now, there's no plans for multiplayer. Never say never, because if it's if it's a successful title, then just like Don't Starve. I mean, example, it was a single player, it went through the roof, and everybody loves it. Now all of a sudden it's Don't Starve together. So maybe it's Pylon Rogue together.
That would be awesome. So you said this is already out on Greenlight on Steam, right? Or early access, rather.
Access, yeah, early access on Steam. It's out right now. It's a very stable build. People always worry about early access. It's like, well, okay, am I going to get a broken game? It's like, no, it's very stable. It's very, nothing's really bug-free, but it's relatively bug-free, feature complete. In order for us to release on early access internally, we wanted to make sure that we could put a game out there that, for some reason, if we never touched again, the buyer, you guys, aren't going to be
like
mad.
we got way our money's worth.
This sucks. I'm not going to,
What is the price point right now of it?
Right now, early access is $14.99. It's a $15 game. It will not go any cheaper. It'll probably go up to a $20 game when we do final release. So if you want to get it and be in there early, save 25%, get a little bit of money. And like I said, the version we're demoing at the show actually is the early access version.
Okay.
So it's you're getting a lot of game. I mean, you're basically buying pretty much a finished game. We're just going to add more content.
Sure, and polish up a little things here and there, menus or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if people buy it now, I'm assuming they look forward to either weekly, bi-weekly, whatever it is, patches, and then
I mean,
you're helping build the game.
Depending on how big they are, those vary between there, whatever. And we're closing the gap now as we're getting ready for launch, sort of deal. We haven't announced official launch, but it's pretty much going to be by the end of the year. Is kind of where it's at. So it's getting very close. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for showing us the game today and talking to us.
Exactly.
Guys, go check that out on Steam. We will see you all next time.